Good morning. Yes.
Welcome to the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist in Newburyport, Massachusetts. I'm Serena Conreddy, and I have the privilege of serving as your worship associate this morning. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We are glad you are here. If you are new and you'd like to connect, please fill out the blue card in your pew and put it in the collection plate. We come together at FRS in person and online, committed to love, peace, and justice. Our mission and our invitation to all of you is to come as you are, journey together in love, act with courage, transform our world. If you would like a large print order of service or hymnal, please ask an usher and they will be happy to help you. If you are worshiping online and would like to access this morning's order of service, please click on the link just below the live stream. Please take a moment to review your order of service for all the activities happening this week. In particular, I highlight, in 2 weeks, on Sunday, November 9th, we'll be celebrating new members. If you have been thinking about joining, please talk to Reverend Laurel. Sue Gately has an announcement about the turkey drive. If you want to step up to the mic.
Good morning. How's that? Can you hear me? Can I put it down? Oh, you're going to put it down. Great. Okay. I hope I don't screw you up here. That's good. Good morning. I'm representing the Community Outreach Committee and to encourage the congregation to participate in a not your average older relatives turkey drive. The first goal, there are two goals of the project. The first is to provide assistance to a larger or greater number of large families who are experiencing food insecurity in our surrounding communities. We hope to donate 50 frozen turkeys, 14 to 18 plus pounds, to the Newbury Food Pantry. The second goal is to encourage the congregation to work in small teams, groups, friendships, or even neighbors, even people you don't know, to experience a common feeling of goodwill around the Thanksgiving holiday. Groups will raise the money, purchase a large frozen turkey, and deliver it to the Newbury Pantry. Which is located, most of you may know, behind the First Parish Church of Newbury on 20 High Street. So get your groups together and decide who's going to be in charge, and we'll give you some more detailed information as we get closer to the holiday. Okay? And go for it. Okay? Thanks.
Thank you, Sue. Our public guest this morning is 25-year FRS member Tom Seitz, back again for our 12th special jazz service. Tom retired from the Unitarian Universalist Association in 2007 after a decade on its executive staff as the editor and publisher of UU World magazine and as the association's director of denominational publishing. He's still a journalist as a consulting editor for the Pulitzer Prize-winning International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. He's also exploring whether to write a book with a title something like Democracy, Now What Do We Do? Tom's journalism career, including not only UU World, but also ranking positions at major newspapers, including the New York Times and the Chicago Tribune, not to mention being the founding editor and publisher in the 1970s of Jazz Magazine. A friend of his jokes that he may be the only person alive who's edited the magazine of both his religions. This will be the 67th UU Jazz service Tom has conducted in over 14 states. Every Sunday, it is such a blessing that we can get together. So let us give ourselves to it. Welcome once again. It's good to be together.
This morning's special jazz service will focus on the music of Edward Kennedy Ellington, the Duke, whose musical vision and influence span the world and deeply flavors our culture. Encyclopedia Britannica says that Charles Ives is perhaps Ellington's only rival for the title of America's greatest composer. Duke was honored posthumously with a special Pulitzer Prize on the 100th anniversary of his birth. To get a sense of how deep Ellington's music drills into our culture, consider just one song. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Duke, since Ellington's first recording of it in 1932, an endless parade of other artists have also recorded it. This song, which contains one of the earliest uses of the word swing in popular music, is in the Grammy Hall of Fame. Gunther Schuller, the polymath musician who was president of the New England Conservatory, called it a prophetic piece with a prophetic title. In short, it's a seminal song in the advance of American music. Not only that, it's fun. Yeah. This song will be today's postlude, and so we can boogie up the aisle to the entrance. Anyway, like so many of us, Ellington was a religious seeker. Unlike us, I've never seen a hint that he was aware of Unitarian Universalism, and he rarely, if ever, attended church services. Think about it. He was endlessly on the road. His performing schedule made him a night person, not a Sunday morning person, but he always traveled with a Bible. In addition to his standard jazz pieces that we've all heard, Ellington wrote sacred music and presented in ever-changing versions of them in 3 distinct sacred concerts to tens of thousands of people in more than 50 cities across America and Europe. Today's call to worship comes from, no surprise, Duke Ellington. I transcribed these lyrics of his that he wrote from a YouTube video of a 1973 performance of his 3rd sacred concert for a huge crowd crammed into a 14th century basilica in Barcelona, Spain. Is God a 3-letter word for love? Is love a 4-letter word for God? When love is in the air, do you know that God is there? When roses bloom in May, didn't God plan it that way? Is God a 3-letter word for love? Is love a 4-letter word for God? When roses bloom in May, do you know that God is there? When love is in the air, didn't God plan it that way? Is God a 3-letter word for love? Is love a 4-letter word for God? God Almighty, whether former or latter, really doesn't matter, because love is of God, and God above is the King of love. These are the words of Duke Ellington. The understanding that God is love is the bedrock foundation of the universalist aspect of our faith. So let me take a minute to introduce our special musicians this morning. Danny Harrington, who has performed many times in this sanctuary, will be playing the soprano saxophone in a duet with pianist Rusty Scott. Debbie Larkin will add some vocals, and our own affiliated minister, Stan Barrett, will separately offer us a piano solo on Ellington's Reflections in D. Remember that the musicians are here today to help us worship, not as entertainers. So please fight back the urge. It will be a strong urge. Fight it back, the urge to applaud after every tune. This will ensure a more a tone more conducive to religious reflection. The postlude will be a great time to show your appreciation for the musicians. Now let us stand in body or in spirit and sing our opening hymn, Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee, number 29 in the gray hymnal. It's by the only other composer whose work we will hear in this otherwise all Ellington service. It was written by a predecessor of Ellington's in the writing of sacred music named Beethoven. And happy day, we are about to hear the voice of our organ, which has been missing for so long, but the electrical system was finally repaired on Wednesday. Welcome back, organ. Is this fun or what? You may be seated. The chalice will be lit this morning by FRSUU jazz people. Sadly, Lark Madden and Sid Rashke, who have both taken large roles in our church's jazz efforts, both have family obligations today that prevent them from joining us. But two members who are deep jazz fans, Will Budenhagen and David Claridge, and very religious, he says, will lead the proceedings. And all of you who identify as jazz people, players, listeners, whatever, want to come forward, please come up and join the ritual. So, no stampede, okay. Please join in saying our chalice lighting words as David lights the chalice. The words can be found in your order of service. Oh, good. Good, okay. All right.
We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Each week, we also light 2 candles of peace, representing 2 places on earth that we lift up and remember as a sacred encounter with our world. There are an untold number of places on earth that need peace. These 2 we especially hold close in the service and through the week ahead. After each candle is lit, we will sit in shared silence, and then I will invite you to respond by saying peace, salam, shalom. Our first candle is lit for the Pentagon, which has recently been renamed headquarters of the U.S. Department of War, where internal disagreements are rife and where orders have recently been given to dispatch an aircraft carrier and 5 destroyers to join other Navy ships off South America. To this we respond, peace, salam, shalom. Our second candle is lit for every place in Newburyport and environs where people will cast ballots on Tuesday. This is the optimum way to peacefully settle political differences despite contentious campaigns. To this we respond, peace, salam, shalom. And now we will welcome our choir to sing Nick's own arrangement of Come Sunday, the hymn that Ellington said on several occasions was his favorite among more than 3,000 of his compositions.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Thank you, choir. Wow. Please rise in body or in spirit to join in our affirmation of faith, followed by the doxology. The words can be found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. You may be seated. We will now sing the Children to Young Church with hymn number 413, Go Now in Peace. And now, being UUs who improvise in our religious lives, we're about to improvise on the order of service, which was printed before the final plans were made. So now is the time for the jazz interlude, which is Ellington's Squeeze Me, and Debbie will sing.
Treat me sweet and gentle when you say goodnight. Just squeeze me, but please don't tease me. I get sentimental
So if God is love, I think love songs are an appropriate thing for our services. Now let us settle into a prayerful place, into a place of quiet, into a silence deep enough so that we can make out the sound of our own holy background music and to make out the sound of the background music of the Holy Spirit. Let us give thanks this morning for the music that heals us, for the music that brings us joy, for music that brings our spirits into harmony with the divine. In music, the rests are as meaningful as the notes. Let us settle into a rest now, into deep silence, into our souls. Many poems make fine prayers, and here is one by our longtime member Sid Rashke, who first presented it in a Jazz Vespers here in 2008. I've since read it in several jazz services elsewhere. Every time people have asked me for copies. It's called Let Music Teach Us, and I suspect you'll experience the subtle prayer in it. Let music teach us the truth of harmony, a sacred distance to keep vibrations in synchrony. Let music teach us to feel inside a rhythm beat within our heart, rise and fall with breath. Let music teach us to heed songs in a minor key, to respond to their emotion with ours in sympathy. Let music teach us to help resolve discordance or accept that it exists and calmly bear the clash. Let music teach us to improvise, to be brave, to go we know not where, by faith we sense the way. Let music teach us to seek creativity, to offer an endeavor that otherwise would not be. Let music teach us to treasure when genius unfolds, stand in awe of talent given by grace to humble souls. Let music teach us to behold a moment of beauty, to silence all but the song, and savor the joy it brings. Let music teach us about the infinite that we possess, to send an echo ever outward, waves of us in endlessness.
The generosity of our community is an essential ministry that supports the work of the church both in Newburyport and beyond. Each week, 50% of the Sunday offering, not designated as a pledge, goes to a local community partner engaged in important efforts to transform our region. Our community partner the second half of October is the Merrimac River Feline Rescue Society, which was started in 1992 as a few caring souls came to the aid of more than 300 free-roaming cats barely surviving along the Newburyport, Massachusetts waterfront. The effort was one of the first in the nation to use Trap-Neuter-Return to improve the lives of free-roaming cats. Since 1992, MRFRS has assisted in over 145,000 cats. To give online, please use the link in your order of service or below the live stream. You can also make a contribution by text, and of course, you can always mail a check to the church as well. Thank you. The offering will now be gratefully received. Stan Bartlett, one of our affiliated ministers, will play an offering music as a piano solo. It's Duke Ellington's Reflections in D.
Thank you, Stan. It's beautiful. Each week, we lift up the joys and sorrows of our beloved faith community. Andy Lobb, our pastoral care associate, will light the candles as I read what has been shared with me in advance of today's service. If you would like to share a joy or sorrow to be read in the service, you can always send an email to betweenus@frsuu.org or write in the book that is in the vestibule every Sunday morning. Let us gather.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Our first candle is from John Dodge. It's a happy candle. Katie Dodge gave birth to Henry Dodge Huguenin at 4:58 p.m. on October 15th, her due date. Katie, her partner Stan Huguenin, and Henry are doing great. Grandparents John Dodge and Ann Dooley are thrilled to welcome Henry into the family. And here is a candle of reassurance from Joanne Carroll. As most of you are probably already aware, I had a bad spell during our Sunday morning choir rehearsal last week, and I ended up at AJH. I finally got home this afternoon and have been enjoying a long soak in the tub and a nap. I was sorry to get my colleagues all excited, but in the final analysis, it actually was a good thing that this happened. I have been having some unexplained fatigue lately, and it seems that I have small blood clots in my lungs, and I also have some AFib going on. If I hadn't tried to come last Sunday, I never would have known that there was anything serious wrong, so I'm grateful for that. I'm taking it easy today, but I'll be back among you in a few days. As always, we light one final candle for all those unspoken joys and sorrows that remain within our hearts. Please now, let's all join in singing Sanctuary.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
This morning's reading also comes from Duke Ellington and makes his informal but spiritual seeking vivid. Thomas adapted it from Ellington's autobiography, Music is My Mistress. There have been times when I thought I had a glimpse of God. Sometimes, even when my eyes were closed, I saw. Then when I tried to set my eyes, closed or open, back to the same focus, I had no success, of course. The unprovable fact is that I believe I have had a glimpse of God many times. I believe because believing is believable and no one can prove it unbelievable. Some people who have had the same experience I have had are afraid or ashamed to admit it. They are afraid of being re-brainwashed by the people who brainwashed them, or they are afraid of being called naive or square by those they would like to be friendly with. Or maybe they just want to be in. Maybe it's a matter of style, the trend, or whatever one thinks one does to be acceptable in certain circles. There was a man who was blessed with a vision to see God, but even this man did not and does not have power, or whatever it takes, to show God to a believer, much less an unbeliever. So be wise and satisfied with the joy that comes to you through the reflection and miracle of God, such as all the wonders and beauty we live with and are exposed to on earth. And now here's our band again, with singer Debbie Larkin to bring us wonders and beauty through more Ellington music, one of his most widely known songs.
Till you have that moon indigo, that feeling goes stealing down to my shoes, while I sit and sigh, go down the blues, always get that moon indigo since my baby said goodbye. In the evening when lights are low, I'm so lonesome I could cry, 'cause there's nobody who cares about me. I'm just a soul who's bluer than blue can be. When I get that mood indigo, I could lay down and die. You ain't been blue, no, no, no. You ain't been blue till you had that moon indigo. Those feelings go stealing down to my shoes, while I sit and sigh, go long blues, always get that moon indigo since my baby said goodbye. In the evening when lights are low, I'm so on to my good cry, 'cause there's nobody who cares about me. I'm just a soul who's bluer than blue can be. When I get that moon indigo, I could lay me down and die.
Thank you, Debbie. Did I say that Duke Ellington's music has deeply influenced our culture? Mood Indigo, Mood Indigo, which we just heard, is not just familiar and comforting to almost every American ear. It graces the soundtrack of 19 movies, from Paris Blues to White Men Can't Jump, and 7 TV productions, including The Sopranos. Simply put, Ellington is fundamental to our national soundtrack. And his music has permeated the world. He and his orchestra started touring Europe regularly after World War II. Then the U.S. State Department started sending them on goodwill tours to showcase America's culture in Asia, West Africa, South America, and Australia. In hearing other cultures' music as he's traveled, inspired great Ellington compositions that benefited people here and everywhere. His album Far East Suite, I highly recommend this album. It rates as one of his very finest. That religion was deeply important to Ellington is not so widely known. But he was a relentless seeker who was devoted to sharing through his music what he found. Other jazz figures, especially John Coltrane, fit this description too. But Ellington, particularly in his later years, was jazz's religious exemplar. He didn't simply write fine music imbued with his religious sensibility. He wrote 3 full sacred concerts in 1965, 1968, and 1973, and took his band all over the U.S. and Europe to bring these masterpieces to live audiences. Perhaps impromptu congregations would be a better term. When it came time to start pulling together this jazz service, a friend asked if I'd ever done a sermon that focused on Ellington. I hadn't, and my heart leapt. It was a great idea. And preparing for the service has been a great joy. I listened to lots and lots of Ellington music. I read a cultural biography that I discovered. I reread parts of his autobiography, and I found new treasures digging in the web that weren't there the last time I was digging in the web for such things. These include videos from sacred concerts. Imagine him presenting one in this 14th century basilica in Barcelona that is crammed. I mean crammed with people. Fire marshals would go nuts if they saw it. You can Google this if you want to. It's quite something. From listening to Ellington's music this morning, we know how generous the creative spirit was with Ellington, and through the music he made, how generous the spirit of creation has been with us and the whole world. He said his music was God's gift to him. And in another setting, he said that his music was his prayer to God. Are these ideas contradictory? I don't think so. And from our opening words this morning, we already know that Ellington's seeking led him to the foundational universalist understanding that God is love. Love and creativity are available to all of us and to all people everywhere. Isn't the church, or the search for how to love more effectively, a main reason we come to church? Our denomination, the Unitarian Universalist Association, has for years maintained a Side with Love program whose aim it is to make UUs more effective in our efforts to promote justice. Did any of us here this morning, does anyone who's here this morning, have one of the bright yellow Side with Love t-shirts? Raise your hand. Good, there's a few. We need more, anyway. You can get them and other Side with Love items from the UUA bookstore, online, which urges UUs to wear them to demonstrations and other justice events. The way things are going, I can imagine that we could wear one out pretty quickly these days. Ellington worked for justice too, but in subtler ways. He moved to New York from his native Washington in 1923 and started his first combo. Even New York was deeply segregated then. The venues that featured jazz, even in Harlem, tended to be owned by white mobsters, and their most common approach was to hire all black bands, no white players allowed, to play for all white audiences, no black patrons allowed. And the music publishing business, Tin Pan Alley, tended to be predatory. Black composers didn't have equal access, and to get a song into print, they'd sometimes have to split the royalties with a white guy who did. Sometimes a desperate black composer would sell a song outright for $50 in cash, and if it became a hit, all the royalties would go to the white song buyer and not 1 cent to the true composer, the source of creativity spirit that imbued that song. Ellington lived with this until he became powerful enough to slip free. I'm happy to say that this practice has faded almost entirely. Ellington composed at least 3,000 songs, and so since no small number of them became hits, not to mention standards, the money piled up. In his autobiography, Ellington said he did not care about money. Once he had all he needed, he paid his band members exceptionally well and acquired a string of private railroad cars for touring. This way, his band traveled in comfort and didn't have to worry about where they could stay and where they could eat in strange cities as they strung the one-night stands together through the South and other inhospitable regions. In short, what Duke Ellington did most for racial justice was simply to be himself, contradicting all the racist stereotypes that were so common in our country then. He was a supremely dignified man. He traveled all over the United States and Europe many times, showing that black people could be geniuses and be dignified and be religious seekers. He wrote music that worked its way deep into American culture. He was also a significant donor to the NAACP, and he often performed and appeared in support of African American organizations. He started this practice all the way back in the 1920s when he was just starting out, and he kept it up steadily through his life. In 1956, the NAACP awarded Ellington its Spring Iron Medal, its highest award. He also participated in a sit-in, and he enforced anti-discrimination clauses in his performance contracts and took other steps. But he was a musician more than he was an activist, and some people were critical of him for not being bolder. He did keep bearing down to find ways to circumvent Jim Crow as he and his orchestra toured a prejudiced nation's cities. But the realities of structural racism never stopped hounding him. Remember that posthumous Pulitzer Prize that I mentioned earlier? He was first proposed for a music Pulitzer in 1965. As his music had matured from 3-minute pop songs tailored to fit on 78 RPM records to include full suites and sacred concerts, Ellington left the term jazz behind and embraced the term beyond category. But the Pulitzer Prize board did not take the Ellington nomination seriously, and no prize for music was awarded to anyone that year. Why? John Hohenberg, then the administrator of the prizes, wrote in his book, The Pulitzer Diaries, that the board, quote, did not take the Ellington nomination seriously because it did not conform to the terms of the music award at the time, which was for an original work of music in its larger forms by an American composer, close quote. This is to say that it didn't fit the European forms that white composers favored. The Duke, who was then 66, characteristically made a joke of it. Fate is being kind to me. He said, fate doesn't want me to be famous too young. By 1999, the centennial of his birth, the Pulitzer Board had limbered up enough to award Ellington that special citation for his life's work. By then, the Duke had been in his grave for 24 years. Despite my having been the editor of Jazz Magazine and despite my having seen Duke Ellington perform many times, the pinnacle of that was when I once went to a dance where he and his band played the music for the dancers, which is a rare and rarefied experience. I only met the man once. I was a 24-year-old reporter for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, just past cub reporter status and eager to find my professional path. I'd written a profile of Thelonious Monk that was well received, and so I went looking for more jazz stories. Ellington, as it turned out, was about to come through St. Louis and play a concert at the city's huge Kiel Auditorium. So I got tickets and a backstage pass, and to make sure, I made sure that the Post-Dispatch photographer who'd been assigned to do a quick shoot for the city page took a little more time and a little more care to make several photos that might run with a larger feature. I was excited. I'd listened to a lot of Ellington's music on records, but this is my first time to hear him and the band in person. I don't remember what tunes they played, but I remember soaring emotionally. When the curtain closed for the intermission, I went backstage and took in the bustling scene while waiting to speak with the Duke. The line of people needing to ask him urgent questions finally ran out, and I stepped up and I introduced myself as a Post-Dispatch reporter. As we shook hands, he looked at me as if he was actually interested in who I was. And I had my notebook and my pen ready, but right then he was interrupted by a man who needed his urgent help. So as the two of them rushed off, Duke turned to me and said one word, which I dutifully wrote in my pad, said, "Later." That turned out to be the entirety of our interview. Not because Duke was too busy to resume. I'm confident that he would have made time because most performers really are hungry for press exposure, and because the actual reason was that I had become focused on the fact that the reporting to write a feature story like this requires lots of laser-like attention, not just to the subject, but to the people around him and what's going on with the audience and what the band plays and how, and on and on and on. It was because I knew I was in the presence of an Einstein-level genius, and I might never be in the presence of another, that I decided that paying attention to such a rare experience was lots more important to me than writing another newspaper feature. My eyes didn't leave Ellington after that. It was one of the great experiences of my life. Almost 60 years later, with these few sentences, I've finally written something about that magical night. Thank you for being here to give me this opportunity. May Duke Ellington's magic and his spirit of love and creativity and justice remain with us as we make our way in the world. So, please rise now in body or in spirit and join in singing our closing hymn. It's the only hymn by a jazz composer in our hymnal singing the living tradition, Duke Ellington. You've already heard the choir's grade version. Let me reassure you, we are going to sing it in unison. You don't have to figure out those crunchy chords. Anyway, the words are on page 4 of your order of service, and the choir will start out singing a little bit, and then you will take over, and Nick will guide us.
Please
others as you would have them do unto you.
Please remain standing and join in saying our unison benediction as Serena extinguishes the chalice. The words can be found in your order of service. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. The blessing as we go is God, a three-letter word for love, is love a four-letter word for God. Whether former or latter really doesn't matter, because love is of God, and God above is the King of love. This Universalist note brings this Sunday's worship to an end. Please know that there's a little more music. For the postlude, we will switch from the sacred Ellington to the secular. And here's the band with Debbie singing, offering their version of Duke's seminal cultural moment, "It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing." And we're all done. You can clap your hearts out and boogie.
Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Don't mean a thing, all you got to do is sing. Makes no difference if it's sweet or not. Just give that rhythm everything you got. Well, it don't mean nothing if it ain't got that swing. Do-up, 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 do-up.
I would add one thought. It got that swing. It works. I saw all kinds of heads bobbing, people rocking in the pews. There's hope. Let's go in peace and come back again in joy. Thank you all. Yeah. Good.